Hello.
What's up,
Mine's
friends?
my hair clip,
Um,
but I forgot to get a hair tie earlier.
we just got through eating dinner. We made some spam musubis. That's the first time we'd ever tried them.
It was pretty good.
It's pretty good. I will say
It was messy.
it was very messy.
I wonder if the rice was just too warm.
Maybe.
Because, I think whenever I make the little, I don't know what they're called, the little triangle ones, I've got a form that I use.
We could have used that.
Yeah, but it's it's
Yeah,
like a
but
small little
I've seen
triangle.
musubis made in triangle.
Um,
It would have just been awkward. But
Yeah, well, it would have been you would have had to cut it and all that. It's just easier to do it the way we did it. But yeah. And that, I think I also use rice vinegar, so it doesn't stick as well. But it seems to just because you
push
compact
it down. Yeah.
in there. Yeah.
We didn't use a form. I saw a thing the other day that made sense, and I was like, I could just put a sandwich bag inside of the Spam can
Yeah.
and squish it down in there.
Yeah.
And it worked in theory.
Yeah.
They just kind of fell apart.
It was still good though.
10 out of 10 would deconstruct
Yeah.
and make it a bowl and use seaweed
the sauce
snacks.
was good.
Oh, the sauce was so good. Use seaweed snacks to crunch and sprinkle on top.
Yeah.
Maybe. I like a crunchy seaweed. But it was good. The Spam, 10 out of 10, will make Spam with that sauce alone.
That was very good.
Well, you think that would be good? No, that wouldn't be good. Like a Spam and egg situation with that sauce. Maybe
Maybe
like a fried egg instead of a
Yeah.
scramble.
Yeah. I could see a fried egg. Nice runny yolk.
Ooh, if you got the bacon flavored Spam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Any hoozles. What are we talking about this week?
Spooky Ohio. I, as per usual, waited until this morning, as of recording this, to finish these notes. Even though this was the only episode I had to actually write. Listen.
I did mine yesterday, so there's that.
Listen. It ain't never let me down before. And when I tell you I sat down this morning, I mean 12:30. Because I had to get everything else done first.
I hadn't been out of bed long at 12:30.
Before I could allow myself. When you messaged me and was like, I'll be there between 2 and 3, I'm sitting here
Well, the boys had planned last night that they were going to go watch that movie, and the movie started at 9:30, and I was like, okay, so they should be home at 12:30.
That's so early.
And so then they ended up stopping and getting Easton a haircut, and they didn't get home until a little 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then I remembered that it was Fortnite Power Hour, and I was like, let me get in on this real quick. But also they left. Me and Jim are still asleep. I sleep, go back to sleep when they leave.
Mm-hmm.
I am the world's worst, and it's funny because I will sleep late.
Yeah.
I'll get up 6:37, go to the bathroom, take the dogs out sometimes, and then I'll lay back down and go to sleep.
Yeah.
I'll sleep. And then when I roll over and wake up and look, and holy shit, it's 11, 11:30, 12 o'clock. I'm like, oh my God, I slept half the day away.
There's a little bit of guilt.
Well, and then I'll get up and I'll look at TJ, and I did it to Gemma this morning. I looked at her and I was like, why did you let me sleep this late?
We slept pretty late last weekend.
Oh, I slept all day Saturday.
We didn't get out of bed till 12:30.
Yeah.
We also didn't really go. We didn't go anywhere Saturday either. But
imagine this though. I sleep until noon Saturday, and then when I wake up, everybody else is asleep. And then as I walk through they're awake. And as I walk through the house, I realize that the living room has been cleaned. Yeah. And I'm talking cleaned, dusted, the whole nines.
Yeah.
And the bathroom is spotless.
Nice.
And I'm like, he's been cleaning house while I'm asleep now. I feel super guilty. So I go to the bathroom, and then I come out and I start cleaning the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let me get in on this.
Right.
But yeah, I've been sleeping late on the weekends for a while now, and I'm just so tired all of a
Yeah.
sudden here lately.
But like,
Can I steal one of your fridge cigs?
yeah.
It's a Coke
But
Zero,
yeah,
by the way.
like it's the Aldi brand.
That's fine.
But
I just didn't want the listeners to think
the
I was
best
smoking
part,
cigarettes.
the best part of it is that like Willow and Amara aren't those cats that are gonna wake me up at 5:30 in the morning wanting food. They'll sleep in with their mother.
I'll be right back.
Okay, I'm not gonna. I know the sound probably sounds horrendous right now because the door's open. It may not. It may not sound too bad now that there's insulation up in there. It's pretty sound deadened, but there was that one episode, y'all know.
Okay.
Um,
See, my dogs will. It depends. And here for the past couple of months, I've been letting them sleep with us. Well, Loki does, but Ellie still sleeps in her box, but the door's open.
mm-hmm.
If I let them sleep with us, they will let me sleep later.
Yeah.
If I put them in their crates, Loki's going to let me know the minute the sun starts to come out.
Yeah. Okay.
That's crispy. That's what I needed.
See, it's so crispy. It's nice.
That's what I needed. I'm trying not to drink that Alani yet because I'm going to need that later.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna dive right on into it. Was I starting?
Yep.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure because I was 10 out of 10 not listening when you gave me the rundown.
What the hell?
So I hope you remembered
You see how she treats me?
it. My Adderall's worn
This
off.
is what she did to me yesterday or the other day, and I thought she was mad at me.
No.
And then I was like, "Are you excited about getting together?" She was like, "I mean, excited's not the word."
Yeah. Yeah, that was a whole thing. and I'm like laying there. Now, mind you, I had also had a gummy. So I'm laying there and I'm like relaying this to him. And I was like, does that make sense to you? Like that, like, I was like, ghost hunting's something I enjoy, but I wouldn't say that I'm like, jazzed up about it. And he's like, I mean, yeah, I get it. And then I'm laying there. I gave it like, what was it? Maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm laying there watching like TV, and I was like, "Oh my God, she thinks I don't want to hang out with her."
I was like, "Damn, I've done something." But
I even like came back and I said in all caps.
Yeah. This is why I do therapy, because I am the person that habitually thinks that people are mad at them if they don't show the same energy about things that I show.
Yeah.
And I'm sometimes I can come off as a golden retriever personality.
Yeah.
I'm very excitable.
I mean, there are things that I do get excited about, and I'm excited about the things that we have coming with that episode, because as y'all may have noticed in the episode titles, we are increasingly getting closer to our 200th episode.
That's nuts.
That is nuts. That we've dedicated. We're disciplined.
Well, does this mean that we're almost to our 4-year mark?
Close to it, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's crazy. I love doing this though.
Yeah. I like doing this part.
Yeah.
The stuff that to get us ready for this part, not so much.
I love it to an extent, but I have to be in the headspace for it. And like, we've been so busy at work that it's been like difficult, and I haven't had time to, like I used to. I used to be able to just write episodes, but like ever since we've taken over, particularly, it's a lot harder. But I try to stay caught up. And
I was better about writing episodes before I started playing Fortnite.
Yeah. But one of these days, last month I did okay. I got like the spooky state done like, I don't know, like 3 weeks before we recorded, but still wrote one episode the morning of. Anyway.
Excuse me.
Nice.
You guys are welcome.
Some people pay for that type of content.
Well, I'm giving it to you for free. Share it. Tell your friends.
Free fitty. We'll use that as like Patreon ads one day in the future.
Just me
If we
burping?
ever, yeah. Be like, you want more of this?
Then I'll have to start farting on the mic.
No. No. You gotta talk into that. You gotta talk
Yeah.
into that.
You're right.
No, there'll be none of it, but that'll get people in the door.
Okay.
Yeah. If we put burps in the ads, it'll get them
Yeah.
in.
There you go. There you
Then
go.
you get
I got
in, and it's all this other different stuff, and you're like, "The hell is this?"
Where's
and
the
then you
burps?
forget about it, and you're still paying us. That's what we're relying on. Anyway, in the 1800s, German immigrant Johannes Tiedemann bought a traditional wooden house from Alonzo Wolverton on Franklin Boulevard. In 1865, the home became the theater in which several fatal acts would unfold, and while some were simply bad luck, others feel that more sinister forces were at play. 4 brothers from Ontario, the Wolvertons, moved so that they could attend school in Cleveland while they were in their teens, and they built a 2-story traditional wooden house that would become known as Bachelor's Hall. Bachelor's Hall was one of the merriest places in all of Ohio, and lessons of culture and love were experienced in its heyday. But then came the dark times. The Wolvertons enlisted as teamsters with the Union Army during the onset of the Civil War. Later, Alonzo would re-enlist with the Ohio Light Artillery, and only 2 of the brothers would survive the war. When Alonzo came back to Lake Erie from the bloodiest and most heartbreaking battle of the Civil War, he was a fragment of his former carefree and joyful self. The house, now empty and without the joyousness of his brothers, was too heavy a burden for him to carry. He wrote letters to his sister in desolation and despair, and he recalled himself being surrounded by a vast plain of bodies, without an inch of ground free to step on. Those Southern soldiers were mostly kids, the last, quote, cannon flesh in the reserves of a very desperate army. Some who have stayed at the castle have reported visions of Confederate soldiers galloping away in faded uniform rags, and that they all fall down. In 1865, Hans and his wife Louise Tiedemann purchased the home from Alonzo Wolverton. The couple were hospitable hosts and shared their home with family and friends who had made a similar journey to America after fleeing Schleswig-Holstein during the Danish War. If I'm not saying that correctly, please, I beg your forgiveness. The couple would have 6 children, but only August, Emma, and Dora survived infancy. Though Emma would die at the age of 15 under mysterious circumstances in January of 1881, and this led Hans and his family to move to their summer home in Lakewood. During that summer, the vision of a castle began to form on paper. As an, quote, exorcism of sorts, Hans tore down and buried the remains of the original wooden house, as well as the underground wells and the beginning of a tunnel that ran under the garden, though there are some traces that still remain visible on the lower part of the carriage house's north side. He enlisted the greatest architects of his time, Cuttle and Richardson, and to draft and cast their spell with influence from ancient esoteric formulas that followed the golden number, a practice that dates back to Greek and Roman times. Inspirations and invocations for the castle's shape and proportions were directly sourced at the original home of the Tiedemans in the barren countryside of northern Germany. It took several years of planning and 2 years of actual construction before the family were able to move into Franklin Castle. But in the meantime, tragedy struck his life again as he lost both his mother and his wife Louise. He traveled alone back to his hometown in Germany and returned to the castle with his new wife in 1896. By 1897, Hans had permanently moved into his summer home in Lakewood. The deaths of Dora and August Tiedemann followed in 1906, and the patriarch Hans died in 1908. It seems that this entire family's history is kind of shrouded in mystery and over time has become entangled with myth, which makes it more difficult to determine fact from fiction. But nonetheless, the legend of the Franklin Castle begins, but does not end with the Tiedemans. In 1921, after being occupied by a widow from Virginia and a prominent local physician, Franklin Castle is sold to a German singing and dancing society. I put the name in my notes, but I'm not going to say it because I could not find an accurate pronunciation, and every time I tried to use the how to pronounce website where you type it in and then usually it makes you watch an ad, it would play no sound. There was no sound. So I will spare you. But the group would gather at the castle for meetings and performances, but it was also used to produce illegal liquor. 4 decades later, a hidden room was found in the basement behind a sealed panel that contained a whiskey still. In 1967, the house was purchased by the Romano family. By this time, rumors had been persisting for more than 50 years that strange things occurred at Franklin Castle, and it was after the Romano family purchased the castle that these reports of the hauntings were made public for the first time. During some renovations in January of 1975, Sam Muscatello made the grim discovery of a partial human skeleton concealed within a void of the castle walls on the second floor. At this time, Muscatello had been using the house as a Universalist church. By 1985, Michael DeVinco, also known as Mickey Deans, and as the last husband of actress Judy Garland, purchased the Franklin Castle after showing interest in it for several years prior. Under his ownership, the house was subject to a, quote, magnificent maximalist overhaul, and many wild parties were held here. The summer of 1999 saw the Franklin Castle being sold to Michelle Heimberger, who began some architectural transformations with architect Robert Maskey. In November, however, the house was broken into and an arsonist set a fire that caused extensive damage to the structure and completely destroyed the 4th floor ballroom. When the fire department arrived, they discovered a man who had seemingly wandered in from the streets and had set several small fires in a few of the rooms and a large fire in the basement. He did not seem to have any ties to the property, and when asked about his motives, he said, "I had to burn down the castle because it is pure evil." In 2000, a traditional slate roof was completed, but for the next 11 years, the Franklin Castle would sit boarded up and slowly rotting following vandalism. Paranormal researchers claim that Franklin Castle is permeated with something that can alter a person's state of mind. The current owners say that in their experience, this alteration can occur in both ways. It can be either negative or positive and depends on the state of mind and the deepest nature of visitors. They claim to notice a wonderful increase in energies and creative inspiration in brave characters who have a healthy sense of humor, whereas they have seen the worsening of negative inclinations in people who seem to struggle with mood changes or melancholy.
I feel like we would both be suicidal.
I feel like I would be okay.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I'd go in there and I'd be like, all right, everybody here's got to go.
They say that the house seems to act as an energetic amplifier. It can be uplifting and good to those who are inclined toward the sun and in good spirits. But if you come to the castle with melancholy, ill intentions, or a negative mind, you should beware. The current owners, Kit and Pascal, initially visited Ohio in search for obscure garage band records. So these people are in a band that plays records from the 50s and 60s of like garage punk bands and stuff, and it's very European. But on their quest for these records, they were sidetracked and became fascinated with rescuing the Franklin Castle, which was on the list for pending demolition by the city as it had been condemned. The pair treated this historical landmark, which it is on the National Register of Historic Locations, with respect, mended its wounds, and brought it back from the grave. The restoration of Franklin Castle took 9 years and was done one brick and window frame at a time. Many visitors to Franklin Castle report leaving feeling recharged, full of creativity and hope as a result of the sort of magnetic power that emanates from within. If you want to brave a night in Franklin Castle, you can book a room, and the owners encourage guests to document their experiences on notebooks that are left in the suites. Or you can even book the entire castle for $1,400 per night. It is interesting to note that not only are there no TVs at all in the mansion, there are no televisions, because a stay here is so exclusive and private that there is no filming or photography allowed in the house. And you especially cannot post photos to social media or publicly at all without permission from the owner.
Oh, nice.
I went on their website. I would 100% love to stay there. Like, if I ever won the lottery, one of the first things I'm doing is going on like a big ass road trip, and I would book this whole castle for me and my friends, and we would all meet up in Ohio.
I'm looking. Oh, it's gorgeous.
It is.
It is beautiful. I like how
I guess I need to start playing the lottery.
Right. Okay. Now, I got a shocker for all of you. I have a spooky story to share. Not just your states and inventions / firsts for this state. So this story or this location was sent to us by friends, by dear but not so near friends of the pod. Megan sent this to me. So thanks a lot. So we're going to talk about Holcomb Road, okay? Mm-hmm. So according to the story, a man driving a bus full of school children lost control because he became agitated and drove the vehicle into the woods where it struck a large tree. The driver was killed and the bus burst into flames, killing most, if not all, of the children on board. It's been said that the driver's face will appear on the tree that he hit. Ghostly headlights can be seen, and there have also been reports that if you take Holcomb Road from 199 just past the edge of the woods and turn your vehicle to face 199 and turn off your headlights, radio stations will scramble and cell phones will lose signal. Even more, you will see the headlight that I mentioned previously coming straight at you, and then suddenly it disappears when it reaches the tree. So I've been waiting so long to say this next thing. Our old buddy Legend also says that you can hear the cries and screams of the children whose lives were cut short when you drive or walk down this wooded patch of road. Books have stories written in them about the road, and there's also a documentary based on the story. The woods surrounding the road, which are possibly the largest in Wood County, that doesn't snake along the Maumee or Portage rivers, were never owned by anyone named Holcomb. Isaac Heminger owned the land in Section 34 of Center Township in the area. In 1857, he petitioned the county for a road that was called Road Number 307, Isaac Heminger's Road. It's known today as Kramer Road. One story about this road in August of 2009 says, it was a little over 2 months ago when this happened. My brother, sister-in-law, niece, nephew, and myself and a friend of ours were all coming back from Fostoria. It was about 2 a.m. when we were on 199 and we were joking around, having a good time when I mentioned the story of Holcomb Road. Not intending to be serious, I said that I would like to check it out sometime, and that's when my brother said, okay, let's do it. I told him that the story goes that you sit in the middle of the woods, flash your headlights 3 times, then a pair of headlights are supposed to appear and follow you until you're off that road, and if you look behind you, the headlights will shoot off to one side and disappear. As soon as we got to Holcomb Road, we all locked our doors, not knowing what was going to happen. So we drove down the middle of the road because there was no other cars on the road. We stopped in the middle of the woods, turned the radio off, and flashed the headlights 3 times. Nothing happened. So we went down to the end of the road, turned around facing 199, and went back down the road. We stopped in the middle of the woods, flashed the headlights 3 more times, and that's when my brother, sister-in-law, and myself, all 3 got cold chills everywhere. Of course, my niece and nephew were asleep in the back seat, and our friend thought we were crazy. The whole time this was going on, we decided to go across 199 to the other side of Holcomb Road. We turned around, facing Holcomb Road in the middle of the road. I was the first one to see a pair of red eyes staring directly at us in the middle of the road, and I asked if they saw the eyes too, and they said they did. As soon as we got back across 199 to the other side of the road, we all 3 got the same feeling like we shouldn't be on this road. We got off Holcomb Road and took the way back to Route 6. Before we got on Route 6, we made sure that there were no cars coming. You can see for miles down the road, even at night. There was nothing. We were going down Route 6 when all of a sudden this semi-truck came out of nowhere and started chasing us. So my brother sped up a little bit, and so did the semi. We were wondering what the hell this guy's problem was, so we sped up a little more to distance ourselves from the semi. This went on for about 10 to 15 minutes. Then we finally got to Bowling Green Road and got off Route 6 and finally went home. So then another story in November of 2015 says, we were heading toward Holcomb Road, and when we came to it, we stopped and drove a little way down until I saw a speck of white light. We then saw the light brighter and started to drive away until we looked behind us and saw a burning bright red light. The light went white again and we sped away, but the light was chasing us. I think it was the bus with the ghostly woman in it. We didn't see the bus, but we saw the lights. The light was still coming after us for a few miles until we took a turn and it disappeared into the shadows. I also found that fringe paranormal investigators have attempted to hunt this place more than once. Now get this, because I almost didn't include this.
Mm-hmm.
In 2016, they went once in 2016 where they were met with 2 carloads of teens. The investigators initially decided to drive around, giving the teens time to do their own investigation and leave. However, after a while of waiting, the teens showed no sign of abandoning ship. Don and Kelly from Fringe then decided that they were just going to talk to the teens and see if they could get some insight on the area. The teens were honestly frantic initially because they had lost a few of their friends in the woods.
Oh.
They asked the team to help them find them, but the team decided to decline and then left. Their explanation was, we've seen this horror movie before.
I think I've seen this film before.
And I was like, that's kind of messed up, though.
I would never leave my friend.
No. Well, no, but I wouldn't. No, the teens didn't leave. The team.
Oh, the team.
Yeah.
I wouldn't leave.
I wouldn't have left them.
I wouldn't have left children alone in the woods.
You're telling me you've got friends in the woods missing?
Right. Even if they're teens, they're still children.
Yeah.
I would have at least called the fire department or something.
Right. So then they returned a few years later, but came earlier in the night before dark. They noted that the woods surrounding the road looked like a portal into another dimension, which would give more fuel to the stories. However, upon entering the woods, they didn't hear anything suspicious or see any faces on trees, and they called it nothing but an urban legend. Mm-hmm. Now, all that to say...
Meanwhile, there's probably deceased teens in the woods that nobody found.
I will say, in my research, I found a lot more against the haunting than for.
Yeah.
All that to say, there was no bus crash ever reported in that area. Mm-hmm. The bus idea was likely created because a resident in the 1970s had a random bus sitting on the property in the area. But if you've ever seen the bus there, as I know we do have a few listeners from Ohio, let us know what you've experienced.
Yeah.
So there's that.
My turn?
Yep.
All right. The Majestic Theater opened its doors in 1853. Now, I'm going to go ahead and preface, I think This one needs like a little, I mean, most of these need like a little bit of a trigger because it's, a trigger warning because it's like we talk about death. It's, but these are also, because I wrote them this morning, early afternoon, they're a lot less history heavy. So, anyways, the Majestic Theater opened its doors in 1853 when it was called the Masonic Opera House, and it has become one of the oldest continually operating theaters in the United States. When it was first built, it quickly became a central hub in the city of Chillicothe.
Chillicothe?
Chillicothe?
I don't know.
For cultural gatherings, vaudeville shows, and political rallies. Over time, it went from featuring opera performances to showing silent films, and later, the talking pictures. Its ability to adapt with the ages while retaining its original architecture and integrity is why it is still successful. The Majestic continues to host plays, concerts, and community events while carrying over 170 years of memories within its walls. As I mentioned, during its early years, the Majestic wasn't just an entertainment space, but it was also a gathering spot for political speeches and town meetings. Its proximity to Camp Sherman during World War I brought soldiers to the area, and with them a chapter in the Majestic's tale that is said to have left behind a spectral footprint. Camp Sherman was one of the nation's largest military training camps during World War I and saw tens of thousands of soldiers passing through the city. Unfortunately, during the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918, many of these young men would die before they were ever deployed, and local lore claims that the bodies were temporarily stored in the basement of the Majestic when the morgue space was full, which is an eerie footnote that contributes to the haunted history of the theater. Over the numerous decades, there has been a loyalty present in the community, and the Majestic has seen a number of restoration efforts in order to preserve its character. One such renovation effort occurred in the 1990s, which included major renovations to modernize the facilities and update the sound and lighting systems, while being careful to preserve its original charm and ambiance. Today, the Majestic Theater is operated by a nonprofit organization that keeps the curtain rising for not just live performances, but also film screenings and ghost tours year-round. The Majestic Theater is known to be one of the most haunted locations in Ohio. The ghost stories that surround this old playhouse are plentiful, and they include everything from eerie feelings in the seats, unexplained shadows, cold spots, and more. Both visitors and staff have reported seemingly random cold spots, echoing sounds of footsteps when no one else is in sight, and the feeling of being observed. Paranormal researchers say that this location is a, quote, gold mine of spiritual activity. It is said that the darkest of secrets lie below, and the Majestic's basement is where many of the legends come to life. As I mentioned before, during the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic, when local mortuaries were overwhelmed, our good old friend Legend says that the basement of the Majestic was one of the places used as a temporary morgue to hold the deceased soldiers from Camp Sherman. The history of the location seems to have contributed to reports of ghostly figures and unexplained noises from the basement. There have been several paranormal investigation teams who have been in the basement and walked away from the site with some chilling EVPs and some disturbing thermal images that seem to reveal human-like figures lurking within the shadows. It wouldn't be a Spooky State episode if we didn't have a lady in white, and there is one reported at the Majestic. She is a mysterious apparition that is just simply known as the Lady in White.
FYI, it's pronounced Chillicothe.
Chillicothe?
According to the Google.
Okay. She's most often reported drifting near the balcony, and it is believed to be the spirit of a woman who died in the theater under tragic circumstances many, many years ago. But as per usual, there are no records that tell her tale. Witnesses claim that she appears most frequently during live performances and simply watches silently from the rafters. Both stage crew and performers have experienced sudden temperature drops, flickering lights, and even equipment malfunctions right before showtime. And it is believed that it is simply the Lady in White's way of reminding everyone that she is watching from the audience. During rehearsals, actors have reported hearing voices that are often calling out names or whispering behind them when no one is there. A local performer described an experience they encountered where they heard inexplicable clapping from the otherwise completely empty seats after a rehearsal session. Investigators using spirit boxes and EVP devices have allegedly captured responses to direct questions, with one, "I'm still here," recorded in the dead of night. The Majestic Theater has been featured in both local and regional ghost hunting events, which attract numerous enthusiasts from all around the Midwest. Ghost tours are offered primarily around Halloween, and any paranormal groups who have investigated here have reported consistent activity, particularly in the basement and along the catwalks above the stage, with motion sensors, EVP detectors, and infrared cameras as all having picked up unusual patterns and readings that continue to leave investigators baffled.
Nice. All right, now I'm going to jump into my normal. We're going to start with laws. According to Ohio law, it's against the law to kill a housefly within 160 feet of a church without a license. In Bay Village, it is illegal to walk a cow down Lake Road. In Cleveland, it's illegal to catch mice without a hunting license. That one got me. In Clinton County, any person who leans against a public building will be subject to fines. In Chillicothe, it is illegal to throw rice at weddings. And I feel like that's a thing.
That is a thing because the rice expands and it can, it hurts birds eat it, their stomachs. Yeah.
In Columbus, it's illegal for stores to sell cornflakes on Sunday.
That's interesting.
Yeah. In Fairview Park, it's against the law to honk your horn excessively. A grandmother was fined for honking her horn twice at her neighbor. It is legal to throw a snake at someone, but it is illegal to shake a snake at someone. So you can throw it, just don't shake it. Items left on a tree lawn become city property. In Marion, you cannot eat a donut and walk backwards on a city street. In McDonald, your goose may not be paraded down Main Street. And no one can be arrested on Sunday or on the 4th of July. So if you're going to do your crimes, do it on Sunday and on 4th of July. So you can go on to your next one.
Woodland Cemetery in Dayton, Ohio has stood for more than 180 years as a hallowed sanctuary for eternal rest, with its gates safeguarding the remains of over 110,000 individuals. It serves as the final resting place for some of Dayton's most illustrious citizens, including pioneers of aviation, the Wright brothers, celebrated humorist Irma Bobick, poet Paul Laurence Dunbar, and inventive genius Charles Kettering, which I didn't look into it, but I can only assume that is where Kettering University comes from. And that is it's in Michigan, and it's for engineers. Woodland Cemetery was established in 1841 for the expressed purpose of creating a resplendent cemetery landscape to support a rapidly growing city. Throughout the decades, Woodland Cemetery has remained a steadfast beacon of solace and memory for the people of Dayton. The Romanesque gateway, chapel, and the administrative office hold a space on the National Register of Historic Places, with the chapel having one of the finest original Tiffany windows in the country. The Arboretum was upgraded in status from a level 2 Arboretum in the fall of 2017, and it is among the foremost green spaces in Ohio, with over 200 acres adorned with 3,000 trees, which include 10 current or former state champions. I did not know that trees held championships.
Me neither.
Woodland's website says that it remains an active part of the Dayton community, and it is a popular place to walk, relax, and enjoy the scenery. But foremost, it does remain an active cemetery, which serves approximately 1,600 burials and cremations to families annually. Their website says that even though they have been in operation for over 180 years, there is still sufficient undeveloped land to accommodate more than 50,000 more burials, which would equate to over 100 more years of active operations.
Nice.
The cemetery does host events such as they have an almost winter bird walk that they do in November, a mystery, mayhem, and murder lantern tour, which is offered on a range of dates. A cemetery symbols tour, a strange and unusual tales in Woodland. There's multiple historic tours. There's an arboretum tree tour, all of which are offered throughout the year from what it looks like. And the tickets are incredibly cheap at $5 each. And it shows on their website also like how many spots are available for each of the tours. And if I'm ever in the area, I will definitely be scheduling every tour I can. Because it looks like a gorgeous cemetery first and foremost, but it's essentially a park. But also if you live in the area and you also love a little cemetery tour, it's a great way to support them as an organization as well. So they can run for that 100 more years.
Right.
One of the saddest stories of anyone who has been laid to rest at Woodland is that of a little boy named Johnny Morehouse, who drowned in the Miami and Erie Canal. It was August 14th, 1860, and it was hot, and little Johnny fell into the canal while playing. It is said that his dog attempted to save him, but by the time he was able to pull Johnny from the canal, Johnny had died. It is said that he sat by the boy's grave until he died. Visitors have reported that the little boy and the dog spend their time laughing and playing in the cemetery. Some have thought that the dog was alive and well and left treats or food out for him, and this over time became a tradition, and trinkets are left on the grave to honor the loyal pup. Some have claimed to hear the dog's playful bark in the dark of the night. There's also another well-known spirit at Woodland. She is a blonde girl who is wearing white tennis shoes and blue jeans and is often seen sitting on one of the stones, and it is claimed that she will speak to passersby.
She not wearing a shirt?
That's what I said. I guess it's probably just like a white t-shirt. The stone that she sits on is reported to emit a strange blue light, and no one has been able to identify the spirit yet. Nor is it known why she haunts the cemetery, honestly. Me as a ghost,
right,
just hanging out, talking to people.
At a random cemetery that I have no connection to.
Making a headstone glow and screwing with people.
Right.
But she has been seen by several different witnesses. And on eerielights.com, they completed their own investigation, which yielded some strange light anomalies and some disembodied voices, but they did not have their own personal experience with the young girl's spirit. Someone reported to eerielights.com a personal experience they had at Woodland, which reads, "Living in Dayton, we had heard about Woodland Cemetery from a lot of different people. We actually lived in the area for almost 2 years before we got around to going out there. We got involved researching genealogy, so we started going to cemeteries in the area. Woodland is a pretty interesting place. It has a lot of old stones and unique statues. Since it's so old, there are a lot of families buried there. The cemetery has experienced a lot of problems with vandals, which I think is very sad. I mean, that happens with a lot of, and it especially happened in like the 70s and 80s. I can't imagine why people would want to do such things. Anyway, the incident that happened to me was on our third visit to Woodland. We got over there late in the day on a Tuesday. We didn't see anyone else around, and we kind of wandered in different directions, looking around, taking notes, and checking on different names. I had also started doing rubbings of some of the old gravestones, and I was looking at some stones thinking about taking a rubbing. Maybe I was a bit too focused, but I suddenly noticed that there was a little girl nearby. She was sitting on a stone, swinging her feet. She had blonde hair and was wearing white tennis shoes. I looked at her and said hello. She said hello back to me, and then she jumped up, turned, and ran away. The most curious thing was that a blue light seemed to follow her. I've never seen anything like it. When she got a short distance away from me, that blue light sort of went into her and she was just gone. I was really spooked and was standing there with my mouth hanging open. That was enough for me. I was out of that cemetery and it took a while before I was ready to go again. My sister had been too far away to see the girl. Later, I found out about the ghost of a girl who had been seen in Woodland, and I believe that it was her ghost that I saw that day.
See, me, I feel like you would have heard me. I'd have been like, did you see that shit? You know?
Yeah.
No, it would have started off with, what the first, and then.
Right.
All right. Back to the laws. This one just simply says, you may not run out of gas.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the end.
Where?
That's the sentence. In Ohio.
Anywhere?
I guess so.
Ohio girlies, I'm sorry. Don't
Right.
run out of gas.
It is illegal to fish for whales on Sunday. Technically, this means you can go whaling on any other day, even though there's no whales in Ohio at all. Somewhat related, it is against the law to make a fish intoxicated. Perhaps this used to be a technique to make fishing easier. Can you imagine just pouring like a bunch of liquor into the water and trying to get fish drunk so that you can catch them? You may want to think twice before leaving the house wearing your glossiest patent leather shoes, or not, since this law isn't really enforced. But women are prohibited from wearing patent leather shoes in public. Hold on. If someone owns a tiger and the animal goes missing, the owner must notify authorities within an hour. I would think that that's an obvious. Like, first off, why do you own a tiger? Second off, if it's missing for 5 minutes, we're calling somebody to let them know.
Yeah.
More than 5 women cannot live in the same house. And this most likely was trying to combat like prostitution.
Oh, yeah.
According,
oh my God. Could you imagine it's an all-girl household and you're one of those people that just like wants to have a bunch of kids and you have 5 of them and then you get pregnant again and you're like, oh God, gender reveal, it's a girl. Who are you kicking out?
according
I guess technically it would have to be 4 daughters.
Yeah.
Because you'd be number 5.
Yeah.
Oh God. What about a 2-mom household? Shit out of luck.
Oh no! I gotta call the Megans and be like, y'all can't have it. Y'all can't have more than
Too many girls.
Yeah,
too many girls.
You can't have that many.
They become too powerful.
Look, should we call them right now? I'll call them here in a little bit. I'll put them on the spot. Be like, you're on the pod. Listen. According to the Ohio Driver's Education Manual, you must honk your horn every time you pass another vehicle. A friendly wave is optional. That's annoying.
Yeah.
In Akron, it's against the law to display colored chickens for sale. Like,
Good.
You can't dye the chickens.
Good.
If there's
That's a good one. I like that.
Right. If there's any place, so this one was crazy. So if there's a place that's important for there to be like safety signs,
Yeah.
I would think that a swimming pool would be it, like a public pool.
Yeah.
But in Akron, posting signs at swimming pools is prohibited, and this means no warning signs posted on fences, trees, utility poles, or any other exterior surface near a pool.
What's the logic? That's what I want to know.
The town of Bay Village bans walking a cow down one of its main roads paralleling Lake Erie. The town of Bexley does not allow slot machines inside of outhouses. You can't shit and slot at the same time. Remember back in that just reminded me. Remember back in the day, those little handheld poker game things? It was like a little, kind of like a tiny.
I had a Wheel of Fortune one.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? My dad kept a poker one in their bathroom. I forgot those existed.
That is very dad coded.
Yeah, it is. All right, that's all I got.
Okay. Construction of the I'm going to say Sedumsville Rectory, began in the mid 1800s as part of the Our Lady of Perpetual Help parish, which served the growing Catholic community in Cincinnati, Ohio. The church, school, and rectory was formed in the heart of the neighborhood and provided a spiritual and social anchor for local Catholic families. Priests resided and served in the rectory, which included saying daily mass, serving the needs of parishioners, and adapting to a rapidly industrializing city. Over the years, the rectory has experienced many years of devotion and sacrifice, but Sedumsville experienced economic decline in the 20th century, and the parish struggled as families moved away. Time and extenuating circumstances such as fires, renovations, property damage, and an aging infrastructure were taking their toll, and by the late 1900s, the church closed and the rectory fell into disrepair. Without regular upkeep, the structure began to rapidly deteriorate, and its vacant halls became ripe for rumors, urban legends, and claims of paranormal activity. There are also several documented tragedies that are tied to the land that surround the rectory, which also greatly contribute to these local legends' growth. Local records note accidents, illnesses, and community hardships, which included dangerous flooding and fires that damaged multiple properties in the area. With these events all combined with the rich religious history of the rectory and the extended periods of abandonment, it is not surprising at all that it has contributed to its reputation as one of Cincinnati's most unsettling historical buildings. The reports of hauntings at Sedumsville Rectory are often described with a combination of residual energy and intellectual hauntings, who are said to interact with visitors or respond audibly. The atmosphere inside of the rectory is often described as being heavy, charged, or emotionally intense, and some witnesses have reported sudden feelings of sadness or agitation. There are regular reports of shadowy figures that will cross doorways, the sounds of footsteps on vacant staircases, objects that will move independently, and disembodied voices have been heard in rooms that have not been used in more than 40 years. These reports are all relatively consistent with one another, which has contributed to the rectory's prominence as one of the most haunted places in Ohio. I love that everything on the list is always the most haunted places in that state. Diving a little further into the reports of shadowy figures inside the rectory, it is said that the figures appear to move with intent. Witnesses have reported seeing tall, human-like figures that will move across doorways, glide down hallways, or will stand motionless at the end of a corridor before completely disappearing.
Can I just tell you how many times you've said the word rectory, and every time you do, I kind of giggle inside?
Rector? Hardly know her. I've been holding that one inside. I was gonna let that one go at the end, but whatever. These shapes are consistently reported as being solid with distinctly defined shapes rather than being semi-transparent or appearing as though they are illusions of the light. Many investigators have noted that the figures move with intelligence as they anticipate being witnessed. Often, people will report the sensation of being observed, which are often accompanied by sudden temperature drops or alternatively, an eerie silence that will settle over the room just moments before the figure appears. Some visitors have refused to return after they see one of the shadow figures seeming to step toward them before dissolving into the dark of the corridor. That would be an absolutely not for me.
Yeah.
Because so many have reported identical descriptions, these apparitions have become one of the most defining features of the haunting of the rectory, and lend weight to the idea that the building retains much more than memory. One of the most commonly reported spirits within the rectory is believed to be that of a former priest. Witnesses have reported a shadowy, clerical-like figure that will glide down hallways, and on occasion, the figure will appear for a moment in spaces that once served as rooms for prayer, reading, or meditation. He is described as being tranquil yet quiet, inquisitive but not threatening. Some paranormal researchers have captured recordings of whispers which sound like fragments of prayer or short Latin phrases. Another frequently reported figure is that of a sorrowful female spirit. Visitors have said that they can hear soft crying coming from empty rooms or feeling a sudden wave of sadness when walking through some particular areas of the rectory. Others have reported an unexpected scent of perfume and the gentle movement of curtains in rooms that have no open windows. In addition to the melancholic woman, there is said to be a childlike spirit lingering within the walls of the rectory as well. Evidence to support this theory are light footsteps being heard on upper floors when no one else is supposed to be up there, as well as small objects that are left out by investigators that are often found moved or completely rearranged. This presence is most often described as being playful or curious and is not threatening or frightening at all. Beyond apparitions, the rectory is known for some intense physical activity that many who visit find to be deeply unsettling. Doors will swing open or shut without warning and is often forceful enough to echo throughout the entire building. Heavy footsteps will travel along staircases when no one is present, and people ascending the stairs will often report feeling a hand press gently or firmly against their back, which is also a no for me, dog. Don't touch me while I'm going up the stairs, please. I'm already scared. Objects also frequently move of their own accord. Flashlights will roll across tables, chairs will be pushed back a few inches from their original position, and some investigators have even captured furniture that seems to vibrate or shift slightly during the highest levels of activity. Many have described the sensation of their clothing being tugged on, or that they have been brushed against by an unseen force. It is also commonly reported that electronic devices malfunction, including batteries draining instantly and cameras that will either freeze or will refuse to focus. And audio devices have recorded unexplained knocks, growls, and murmurs that are most often in response to a direct question. All of these consistent and interactive paranormal disturbances have certainly contributed to the reputation of the rectory being one of the most active haunted sites in the Midwest. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, I got the inventions in first. So, in Ohio, the pop top or pull tab on cans, these things,
yeah,
were invented in the 1950s. The stepladder, the ice cube tray with a lever. So I don't know. So it had a thing in the middle that you just pull up like a lever.
Yeah.
And it helped pop the cubes out. The backpack parachute, it was invented by Floyd Smith in Dayton, Ohio. The collapsible portable crib, so like a playpen essentially is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Space food.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever try any of that?
Like freeze-dried?
Yeah. The electric automobile starter. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say. Did you hear it? Automobile.
Automobile.
Freon. Thank you, Mr. Thomas Midgley Jr. and Charles F. Kettering.
Good.
I knew that we were going to hear that name again. He was also responsible for the electric starter.
Nice.
The cash register was invented
Thanks,
by
man.
James.
I don't like cranking stuff.
Right. The cash register was invented by James Ritty in 1879. The human heart lung machine was in 1951. It was a collaboration between cardiologist Samuel Kaplan and Samuel Kaplan, surgeon James Helmsworth, and chemist Leland Clark. They kind of all got together and it brought forth the human heart lung machine.
Nice.
The rotary solenoid was also by different guy. I thought it was by the same Leland Clark dude. It was invented by George H. Leland. The motorized wheelchair, all the old ladies can be thanking Levitt Luzerne Custer.
For your scoops.
Right. It's basically because of the devastation caused by World War One.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing all the amputees trying to figure out how they're going to get around.
Cool dude.
Yeah. Gas masks were invented by Daniel L. Schaefer. The LCD, like LCD screens, were by John L. Lanning. Here's my favorite. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Cheez-Its. I love a Cheez-It.
I do love a Cheez-It.
Especially the extra toasty ones, the ones that are just a little bit browner than the rest. Those are my favorites. Here's one that you're going to appreciate. You ready? The Trapper Keeper.
Nice.
The movie projector was invented by Charles Francis Jenkins.
I love a Trapper Keeper. I got one up there.
Yeah. The dip and read glucose tests. Moisture proof cellophane. And then we have, come on. The vacuum cleaner was the 1907.
Nice.
The arched street light.
Yeah.
I
was thinking like as opposed to what?
Well, were there
like a lamppost? Yeah.
Chewing gum was actually invented by a dentist in Mount Vernon, Ohio.
Yeah. I think it was an accident.
Huffy bikes were invented in Dayton, Ohio. Invented by Horace Huffman Sr.
Nice.
Barcodes were invented in Troy. And that's all I got.
Okay. Last, but certainly not least, built in 1886, the Bisman Building was once the location of a grocery warehouse in the quiet and unassuming town of Mansfield, Ohio. Once the center of bustling activity, the Bisman Building served the proud townsfolk as a grocery and supply company during the heart of the 19th century. Now deserted and echoing with eerie silence, the walls preserve the echoes of years gone by and contain the tales of secret passageways, phantom employees, and spectral remnants of the past. Once the threshold of the Bisman Building has been crossed, one would enter the dusty foyer, and the cold shadow of the building creeps in on you. Amidst the creaking overhead beams and the musty corners, the veil between reality and the spectral world are thin. Hushed whispers are carried along seemingly unexplainably drafty corridors, which have been known to unsettle even skeptics. The whispered conversations and phantom murmurs echo throughout the silence and seem to be persistent and elusive at the same time. It is said that the air is static within the warehouse, with the unseen life force of spirits and the apparitions are said to be trapped within the factory. Apparitions are said to be a common sight for paranormal investigators. A compelling story is that of a well-documented apparition of a man that haunts the top floor. Descriptions of him seem to paint him as a former employee that is caught in the mechanics of the spectral world. His visage appears pained and wandering the labyrinth of rooms and corridors, which perfectly captures the mournful essence of the building itself. A disused elevator shaft is also enshrouded in hushed whispers and is the centerpiece of an ominous tale. Legend says that an unfortunate worker, pulled by an invisible and uncontrollable force, met his untimely demise by plummeting down the forgotten shaft. It is said that his terrified screams can be heard reverberating in the stillness of the night. Other spirits that have been seen here are that of a man in a top hat and a long coat, and a little girl. And there are reports of heavy footsteps in empty overhead floors of the building. Cold spots, voices, and many witnesses have described seeing black masses in the building. Paranormal investigators have captured EVPs that include the word Annabella. which is believed to be the spirit of building owner's great grandmother, of the original building owner's great grandmother. According to the Mansfield News Journal, the Blissman building and an adjacent industrial shop were sold at auction in December of 2025 to Jaron Allen of Mansfield. The conjoint properties were sold for $346,100 and was purchased from the Oberlins. The new owner has several residential and commercial properties in this county. And the Bissman building itself was only sold, like, you can't even get a house for this price. For $120,000 was the of that 300
Lord.
and something. The Bissman was 120 of that. The Bissman is famous for its appearance in Shawshank Redemption as the Brewer Hotel and Portland Daily Bugle, along with the building's reputation as one of Mansfield's most intriguing paranormal hotspots. I think it's also been used in other like TV shows and movies, but I was
Probably.
like, I've never heard of those, so
Probably.
yeah. That's that.
That's all she wrote, ladies and gents. What's our nonprofit for the month?
Reading is fundamental, and they work to disrupt the alarming U.S. literacy crisis by inspiring the joy of reading in children, a critical element to driving the frequency, motivation, and engagement needed to create skilled readers. We know that if we build a foundation of joy for children, then development, discovery, and opportunity follow. Since 1966, there have been 237 million children impacted throughout all 50 states, D.C., and all U.S. territories. 430 million books and reading resources have been distributed in person and online, and 55 plus years focused on closing equity gaps by reaching children in historically underserved communities. And should you feel inclined, there will be a link in the description of this episode to donate directly to this organization. And go ahead. I was going to say, and while you're down there,
in those nether regions, you can check us out at Facebook.
Oh, Instagram,
TikTok,
YouTube,
and email us at
Wanders of Weird. Oh, shit.
Oh,
you go ahead.
Wanders of Weird
at gmail.com.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.